Hello, everyone, and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets, and drama. So, I'm back for another Have Your Say video.
Haven't they suffered enough?
And this video is for RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 7, Episode 5. So, today we're going to be recapping the episode, going through the results of the Have Your Say poll, and I'll be talking about some unrelated drama to do with Gottmik addressing a wild rumour, and an update regarding the ongoing drama of Shea Couleé. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. Also, before we get started, some of you may have seen because I posted about it on my community post, but I recently interviewed Nyan Bella from Drag Race UK Season 7, and she spilt lots of really interesting backstage tea. So I'll link to that in the description because it's on my interview channel, but here is a snippet of the things that we talked about.
Because I almost quit after episode 2. I almost quit the show.
Oh, how come?
And then, come to find out, everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's the narrator of the season. And I'm watching every confessional, be like, I don't remember saying that. I don't remember saying that. But work.
So basically, you almost killed RuPaul and it wasn't shown.
Yeah. Because I was so upset about her critiques. I was like, I'm going to take you out.
You were talking about the fact that Drag Race UK queens don't get the royalties for the girl group song.
Oh
but then Teresa May from season 3 said that you do because she gets like random checks for her song. So I was wondering what the tea is on that.
Oh my God. That was so annoying to me because I'm just like, that was kind of like the moment where I was like, okay, genuinely, I just need to like just ignore a lot of the fans and everything because I got so much flack for that.
So make sure you go and check out my interview with Nyan Bella, link in the description. Okay, so let's start by recapping the episode. So we find out that the main challenge for this week is the talent show. I quite like a talent show because, as the name suggests, it's a good way of showing a talent, duh.
What are you, stupid?
But also, I feel like it's quite a fair way for the queens to show a talent of theirs that they've prepared in advance. So it's a really good way to showcase what they're about. Because if you can't do a good job in a talent show that you knew about in advance, then, you know. The only thing I'm slightly a little bit fatigued with, shall we say, is that in the talent shows, everyone seems to do original tracks. And this is not just a UK thing. This is in every single, like, All Stars, regular season, everything. I feel at this point we just need to put a ban, a moratorium, please. No more original tracks.
No wire hangers ever! Why?
Because it just gets so boring after a while. But anyway, spoiler alert, there are quite a few this week. So we're going to dive straight into the talent show and then we'll go through the Have Your Say poll results and then go on to the runway. Okay, so first up on the talent show is Elle Vosk doing an original song. I will say, of all of the queens who did an original song, and there are a lot of them, I think Elle's was my favorite because she was really taking the mick or making fun of the original song concept. Also, her song was actually quite catchy, like the original track, like that actually was really funny to me. I will say, I thought they were very strategic and shady, the fact that they put hers first, because then it kind of made fun of every single other person who did an original track. So I wonder if that was a little bit of shadiness by the producers. But I will say I thought Elle did a really good job and it's such a good concept. It's quite an easy to do thing, but get quite a good result from it. So I would definitely give her a yay. In terms of the Have Your Say poll, looks like you agreed because you said 66.8% for yay, 24.5% for just okay, and then 8.7% for nay. After that, we had Bones, who also did an original song. I had really high hopes for Bones because she is a performer from what we've seen, but as soon as I saw the fact that she was saying, I don't think I'm going to do very well, and she was nervous, I was like, either that's going to be kind of part of the thing that she's going to do really well, and she only said that to try and, I don't know, for the storyline. But then when she came on, I was like, oh no, she actually is not doing very well. Unfortunately, this was probably my least favorite track. It just, you couldn't hear what she was saying. It was a really bad like audio mix. I don't know if they recorded it on someone's iPhone or something. Actually, that's insulting to iPhones. iPhones have better audio quality than that. But it just was, something was not right with it. She was just very lackluster. She kind of looked like she couldn't wait to get off the stage. So unfortunately, for the first time I think so far, I will have to give Bones a nay. And I think you agree because a small majority of you, 83.4%, said nay. So pretty much unanimous, 14% for just okay, and then 2.6 for yay. Then we had Sally TM, who did a comedy number. I'll start off by saying, thank God it was not an original song. Just that to me gave her instant points. I thought it was a really interesting concept. We have seen people do painting before, like Manila Luzon did it on All Stars, but that was not spoken word, that was just painting. And we have seen people do something a little bit like this, almost like inner monologue while doing weird stuff. I will say, although it was a good concept, Sally, I thought she could have put in a few more actual jokes. Some of the inner monologue stuff was funny, but then other bits were not that funny. So I did think there was a lot of maybe slightly dead air of things that weren't that funny. I think she could have really punched it up, but I did like the concept. But probably I would have to give it a just okay, because I think it could have been better, but it was just okay towards yay. Interestingly, it looks like you agreed, because you said technically yay came out on top with 43.8%, but then just okay was only just behind with 42.6%, and then nay got 13.6%. After that, we had Select's Addiction, who did comedy burlesque. I did really enjoy Selexa's. We'll get onto it later, but I don't think it was a winning performance in my opinion. And also, I don't know if it kind of says something about the level of the talent show if this was the best. I thought it was fun and it was a fun concept, but I don't know, I feel like the fact that she won later on, spoiler alert, I was thinking it was going to be a bit more than it was. It was very funny that she was revealing to all the different boobs and stuff, but I feel like we saw someone do that like Ben de la Creme on All Stars, but she did it with the tassels and it was funnier the way she did it and there was more to it. This felt a bit like the same concept, but not quite as interesting. But it was still a good performance and she did it very well and she looked great. So I'll give her a yay, but it's only really a yay compared to maybe the level of the other people. God, I sound like a right bitch today.
Shady bitch.
In the Have Your Say poll, you did vote yay majoritively with 58.5%. Then it was just okay with 33.6%. So about a third of you did say just okay. And then 7.9% for nay. After that, we had Bonnie and Clyde, who did a lip sync number. Again, this is basically an original song. Let's just kind of call it what it is. It is fun. I think she at least wasn't trying to do it just kind of like, I'm fierce, give me the crown, I'm amazing, and let's get down. I just rhymed that. Someone get me a Grammy. Is Grammy the music one?
I lost all hope today.
At least Bonnie did do something funny and it wasn't trying to just be a normal original song. I don't think it was that great. It was fine, but kind of just a little bit meh. I don't really remember a huge amount about it, so I'll probably have to give it a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, it looks like you agreed because you said 60.4% for just okay, 29.1% for yay, and then 10.6% for nay. Next up, we had page 3, who did live singing and a lip sync. I agree with the judges that when she first came out and did the live singing, I was very impressed because we have seen live singing a few times on Drag Race, and sometimes it doesn't go well and other times it does. So I thought it was actually really cool that she was doing live singing, and her voice did sound pretty good. But I will agree with the judges that when she stopped doing it and then just did the normal lip sync, that was a little bit boring. If she had just done that lip sync the whole time, it would have definitely been a nay. I think I probably would give it a just okay because she at least did the live singing, but it wasn't enough to me. I kind of wish she had done that for the entire time. It looks like you agreed because you said 55.5% for just okay, 31.3% for yay, and 13.2% for nay. After that, we had Chai T. Grande doing a comedy burlesque number. I really liked the concept for this because it was obviously talking about her Thai heritage and the culture and coming out as a dumpling, like that's just immediately funny. I do think it kind of just went nowhere though. I did like the concept, and again, I thought it was going to be, you know, a little bit like Ben de la Creme with the tassels and take things off or whatever, and it kind of was. But the biggest thing to me was she didn't take off the dumpling costume. Is it just me? I was like, when it ended, I was like, oh, is that it? And the judges said the same thing. So I don't know if maybe there was a reason she didn't take off the dumpling costume. I don't know. But to me, that was the biggest miss. So unfortunately, I think because it just didn't go anywhere, I'd have to give it probably a nay. In the Have Your Say poll, it looks like you agreed because you said 53.2% for nay. Not that far behind was just okay with 41.5%, and then yay got 5.3%. Next up, we had Catherine Feelings, who did a magic show. Again, as I said earlier, you immediately get points from me if you don't do an original song, so thank God she didn't. I thought it was a very funny concept, and we have seen magic done a few times on Drag Race before, and sometimes it goes better than others. Hers was more of a kind of dumb comedy magic show. It wasn't like necessarily that magic. I thought it was a fun concept, and she performed it well. It wasn't the most spectacular, but at least it was interesting, so I probably would give it a yay, but only just a yay. And it looks like in the Have Your Say poll, you agreed with me because, as we've established, I am an icon, a legend, and I am the moment.
She's got a point. She's an icon. She's a legend. And she is the moment. Now, come on now.
Delusion.
But you said 47.9% for yay, 44.5% for just okay, and then 7.5% for nay. And then finally, we had Tyrus Mongardi, who did an original song. Now, I will start off by saying, when I found out she was doing an original song, I was kind of like, oh God, here we go. Someone get the gun. Thank God she didn't just do an original song. I actually really enjoyed the concept because it was a fun song, it was funny, but also the watermelon, when she squished it between her thighs, I was like, oh my God, squish me between your thighs. Also, did anyone else find it hysterical that the Brit crew member was just there, like arching the back, looking with all of this like juice flying all over? He must have just been like, what the F is my job? Asking for a friend, where do you apply for that job? But yeah, I absolutely loved Tyrus. I thought she was so fun. It was such a good concept. Really good that it was something we've never really seen before, and it was just very entertaining. So definitely this was a yay. And it looks like you agreed, although maybe not as much as I thought you were going to. You said 71.7% for yay, 24.9% for just okay, and then 3.4% for nay. And back by popular demand, I have reinstated the question about who gets the slay, as in the best performance in the talent show. And you voted 33.2% for Tyrus, 27.9% for Elle, and then Selexa came in third with 18.9%. Personally, I would give it to Tyrus because I just thought it was a really fun concept. Although it was an original song, it was something different, and it probably is the one that I'll remember when I think back on it, so I definitely would give it to Tyrus. Okay, so let's move on to the runway for this week, and the category was having it large, so in other words, oversized fashion. Okay, so first up was Chai Tea Grande. I really enjoyed this concept. I like that it was the bolo tie, but sort of oversized. I thought the proportions were right. It was a really pretty color. The only slight thing, and this is me being uncharacteristically nitpicky because I never normally do that.
Lies. Baby. Lies. Baby. Lies.
I did think that the front of the bolo was so shiny and reflective. I didn't notice at first that it had her initials on it, but that's not necessarily her fault because you never know what the lighting situation is going to be like and things, but that's the only tiny thing that it took me a while to get what it was because it was just so reflective. But otherwise, I was very much reflected by her beauty, so I will say yay. In the Have Your Say poll, it sort of surprised me because you did agree majoritively with 64.2% for yay, but then 30.2% said just okay. I don't know if I personally think that's a little bit harsh, but whatever. And 5.7% for nay. After that, we had Tyrus Mongardi. I really enjoyed this look. I really liked it. I thought the colors were really cute. I thought it fit her really well, but in the sense it's supposed to be oversized, but it still looks proportional, like it's supposed to be like that. I did think it was weird that the judges, who I thought were a little bit more critical than I would have been. I guess looking back on it again, maybe it does look slightly more costumey in a way, or maybe it could have been elevated slightly, but personally, I thought the black and the gold really was a beautiful combination. So unless I have a case of long COVID and I've lost my sense of taste, I do think that my expertise and PhDs in fashion are not wrong, so I will give this a yay. But I was surprised in the Have Your Say poll that you said 49.8% for just okay, which was the biggest proportion. Then it was 44.2%, so not that far off, but still it wasn't number one. I definitely would have put this in the yay category, and then 6% for nay. After that, we had Bones. I liked when she first walked out and she had the kind of the furry overcoat thing with the very big pointy shoulders. We all like a pointy shoulder, and give me two of them and I'm your gal. I'm not sure I liked it as much when she took her clothes off, which is not something I usually complain about.
Slut.
I thought the oversized jewelry and stuff was cool, but I don't know, to me it just looked a little bit kind of crafty or kind of a bit like a design challenge look once she took the other bit off. So I wasn't raving about as much as the judges were, so this was a bit of a rough week for Bones in my opinion. I think I'd give it a just okay, because it wasn't really bad, but I don't think it was amazing either. And it looks like you probably did agree with me because you said 43.4% for just okay, then it was 35.5% for yay, but then nay still got a decent proportion with 21.1%. After that, we had Catherine Feelings. I definitely got the reference straight away that this was Iris Apfel. I definitely got the reference straight away because, as we have established, I am a fashion expert.
That's false, America.
In terms of the outfit itself, obviously it's supposed to be kind of comical, but I don't know, I feel like it maybe doesn't have some of the polish that it could have done, but I did get the reference and I liked it, so I probably would give it a just okay. In the Have Your Say poll, you obviously were more on the just okay side because it was 50.2%, so basically straight down the middle for just okay. And then between yay and nay, it was very split. So 27.9% for yay and then 21.9% for nay. After that, we had Bonnie and Clyde. I thought the concept for this was cool with the very long train that was the red carpet. We have seen stuff a little bit like that on Drag Race before, but it was very well executed. The dress itself, she said that it was sewn by Chanel O'Connor, who was on the previous season of Drag Race. It is a beautiful dress, but perhaps, I don't know, there was something, it just to me, I don't know, maybe the bottom half, because it was just so much bigger in red, and then the top half, it kind of looks slightly like there should have been something else to accessorize it, because it did look slightly like it was half finished. Maybe there was just something not quite right about it. So I think I would give it a just okay overall. In the Have Your Say poll, you said 57.4% for just okay, 26% for yay, and then 16.6% for nay. Next up, we had Select's Addiction. This was such a slay. I loved this runway so much. It looked really cool. It was such a cool concept. It was executed really well. I don't think we've ever seen someone do a hanger before. No more oversized hangers.
No wire hangers ever!
Am I allowed to use a cutaway more than once in one video, or is that against the rules? But I loved this look. It was such a cool concept. This was definitely a yay for me. In the Have Your Say poll, you said 84.9% for yay, so just a few of you liked this. 12.8% for just okay, and then 2.3% for nay. After that, we had Elle Vosk. I 100% understood the reference for this straight away, and I don't think anyone else, like the judges or anything, got this reference at all. So for any of you that don't know, there is a movie called Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's quite an old movie with Dick Van Dyke in it, and it's basically about this guy that invents a car called Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and the car can like do all of these crazy things like fly or whatever. And there's one scene where the main woman, who's called Truly Scrumptious, I have not looked this up, by the way, this is all banked up in here. They need to pretend to get into a castle of this like evil king, whatever. So they pretend to be a doll on a music box.
You see a doll on a music box that's wound by a key.
And that's exactly what she's doing here. And I loved Chitty Chitty Bang Bang when I was younger, and I loved that particular scene with the song. I always thought it was so cool. So when Elle came out, I 100% knew what this was. I think if you get the reference, it's probably a fun look. I guess if you just saw it without knowing it, you might be like, oh, it's okay. Personally, I will have to give this a yay because I thought she did it really well, but also just the inner gay child in me that loved Chitty Chitty Bang Bang as a child was like going, yay! So I definitely would give this a yay. In the Have Your Say poll, 50.2% of you were wrong and said just okay. 39.6% of you were correct and said yay. And then 10.2% of you voted nay, and I will be seeing you round the back.
Oh, but you want to really fight.
Then we had Sally TM. I agree with the judges. I had no idea what I was looking at. It did look like some kind of weird Picasso-y kind of abstract painting. But I guess, do you need to know what the reference is or whatever it is? I mean, even Sally didn't really seem to know. Do you need to know any of that to enjoy an outfit? I thought it was very cool, though. The artistry was really nice. It definitely was oversized. It was a really interesting silhouette. Do I understand what it is? No. But do I like it? Yes. So I think I'd give it a yay. You voted 62.6% for yay, 24.4% for just okay, and 7.9% for nay. And then finally, we had page 3. I really liked the concept for this look. It was a Polly Pocket. Do you have Polly Pockets in other countries? I definitely knew what this was because Polly Pockets were definitely a thing in the 90s when I was growing up. The execution was pretty good. It was a little bit like Alan said, it did kind of just look like she had a big shell on her back. And to me, I think you could tell it looked like what looked like a paddling pool, like a little children's paddling pool that she had spray painted pink and put stuff on. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that because it did look good, but maybe the execution could have just been refined a little bit. But personally, I actually did like that she was doing something a little bit different, although it still was not many clothes, but at least she had the thing on her back. So I think I would give this a yay. You were very split on this in the Have Your Say poll though, because although yay did come out on top with 46.4%, just okay was not that far behind with 42.6% and then 10.9% for nay. So then moving on to the slay for the runway, you voted 54.7% for Select's Addiction, so by far the majority. Then it was 10.6% for Sally, and then Chai Tea Grande was not that far behind with 8.7%. I definitely agree. Selexa by far was my slay. Loved the concept. It was actually a really beautiful look, but also the concept and the execution was amazing. And it had a kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge about it, but still was very elevated, which is something that people always say about me.
Aw, no one thinks that.
Okay, so moving on, we find out that the winner for this week is Select's Addiction. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, do you agree with the winner? And you were very split because you said 52.5% for yes and 47.5% for no. So it wasn't that far off 50-50. So of that almost half of you that said no, I said, who do you think should have won instead? And it was quite split between two people. So it was Tayris came out on top with 45.2%. But then Elle Vosk also got a decent amount with 31.7%. And then the other queens were kind of evenly split between them. And then on the flip side, we find out that the bottom two are Bones and Chai Tea Grande. In the Have Your Say poll, I asked you, do you agree with the bottom two? You said yes, 69.8%, but then still a decent proportion, almost a third, said no with 30.2%. And so of that almost third of you who said no, I said, who do you think should have been the bottom two? Bones came out on top with 83.8%, so I think there's no questions there. But then next up was page 3 with 35%. So Bones and Chai lip synced the song Spectrum, Say My Name, which is originally by Florence and the Machine, and this is the Calvin Harris remix. Whew, that's a long one. That's what she said. And we find out that Bones is the winner of the lip sync and is therefore safe, so unfortunately Chai Tea Grande is told to sashay away. I asked you in the Have Your Say poll, who do you think won the lip sync? And you said 58.9% for Bones, but it was actually not that far behind for Chai, who got 41.1%. And then for the final two questions, question 8 was, which queen do you think will win the season? And interestingly, this is the first time Bones has not come out on top. So this week, Elle Vosk came out on top with 38.1%, and then Bones came in second with 33.6%, with Catherine Feelings getting third with 10.6%. And this is interesting because Bones has always been on top, but I guess because she fell in the bottom this week, maybe that was enough for you all to switch up who you think's going to win. Then finally, question 9 was, which queen do you want to win the season? Now, this one was very split. You can see these segments are not very different in size at all. So Sally, interestingly, came out on top with 21.1%. Then it was Bones with 15.8%. And then Paige, Elle, and Tayris Mongardi got kind of similar with 14.7, 13.6, and 12.5 respectively. So again, this is a complete switch up to what it's been so far. So actually, Sally is apparently the front runner of who you want to win the season rather than Bones. And I do wonder if it's because Bones was in the bottom this week. Moving on to the comments for this week, and my Patreon member Debs said Chai won the lip sync. Bones walking to the back of the stage just to stomp to the front at the climax of the song was "Go Girl, Give Us Nothing." Okay, so Debs, you are holding nothing back this week. I will say this was not my favorite lip sync. It was very much giving like, you better watch out. I am going to give a show. This is going to be one for the ages. And they were really building it up. And then it was kind of a bit like, womp womp. It was a bit of a boring lip sync, I feel, from both of them. It was not that great. And my Patreon Riot said, Tayrus was amazing. I'm loving her more and more each episode. She has the best personality and I just want to hang out and get drinks and laugh all night with her. Moving on to the Have Your Say poll, there were so many comments from people saying things like, so happy that Celexa is finally getting her flowers. Other people mentioned the talent show in general, saying things like, not much talent in the show in my opinion, and revealing boobs everywhere was the winner, question mark, or 3 question marks. No, but all of the acts were safe or bottoms. And I kind of agree. I think the level of talent in this talent show was unfortunately a little bit lacking. Although on the flip side, you also had people who said best episodes so far in my opinion, judging still questionable though. But let me know in the comments what you thought of the talent show. How did it stack up to other talent shows that we've seen? And what are your thoughts on the queens doing original songs? Okay, so now we're going to move on to a little bit of unrelated tea to do with Gottmik addressing a wild rumour about her. As you know, Gottmik competed on season 13 and made it to the finale, and later went on to compete in All Stars 9. Because Gottmik's runway package on season 13 looked very elaborate and expensive, at the time, a rumour started that Gottmik was rich and came from an affluent family. This rumour grew even more because several years ago, when Gottmik appeared on Trixie Mattel's YouTube channel, Gottmik revealed that she spent around $20,000 on her season 13 runway package. There were also people on places like Reddit who said that Gottmik comes from Scottsdale, Arizona, which is apparently an affluent suburb, and that she went to an expensive prep school. I did a bit of research about the school part, and it is actually true. Gottmik confirmed in her Watch Your Packin' episode that she attended the Notre Dame Proprietary High School in Arizona, which is a Catholic school. I checked out the school's website, and as of right now, the tuition fees are $21,500. So this seemed to even further fuel the rumours that Gottmik came from a well-off background. Another thing that added to the rumours was that in 2020, Gottmik revealed in an Instagram post that her friends Gigi Gorgeous and Nats Getty paid for her top surgery. For those of you who may not know, Gigi Gorgeous is a Canadian YouTuber, actress, and model who is also trans. Until recently, Gigi was married to Nats Getty, who is from the Getty family, who are one of the wealthiest and most prominent families in America. Nats is also trans, and it seems that both Gigi and Nats are good friends with Gottmik, hence why they paid for Gottmik's top surgery. Also, according to estimates online, Nats Getty is worth around $30 million, although this is from unverified sources. And so people assumed that Gottmik came from a rich family and was friends with other people from rich families. However, a few weeks ago, Gottmik appeared on the Sibling Rivalry podcast with Bob the Drag Queen, and Bob asked Gottmik about these rumours. Gottmik said that her family was comfortable, but definitely not rich.
The streets are saying that you are like a rich kid.
Yeah, that's so weird to me. I don't know.
Is that not the tea?
Literally no, at all. I guess I could like see where that like came from.
Were you comfortable? Growing up?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like definitely comfortable, but I was definitely not rich at all. Literally, my dad was like driving Uber and my mom works at like Target. Like it's like,
oh really?
Yeah, it's like not giving that. I don't know where that came from.
Well, I mean, your package was obviously very expensive.
Right. Going into debt, honey. That was for sure a debt sit.
She even revealed that she used to live in the living room of someone who works for World of Wonder.
Yeah, girl, I was not rich. I was literally living in someone's living room in downtown LA. Spencer Nemitz, who runs the WoW social media, in the living room.
Oh,
like,
so you knew someone at WoW. No. Whoa, the inside tea.
But she also explained that she used to work a lot for celebrities, so presumably that's how she was able to earn money. But I just thought this was interesting because I don't think Gottmik has ever addressed these rumours before, so it was interesting to hear her side of it. And I'll link to the full podcast between Bob and Gottmik in the description, and you should go and check it out. And finally, we're moving on to a bit of an update regarding the ongoing drama to do with Shea Couleé. I've made a few videos about this drama so far, which I'll link to in the description. But just as a very quick summary, Shea Couleé previously had 3 drag daughters, but they all dropped Shea's name, and then they came out and criticised Shea, calling her things like a narcissist. Shea then addressed the rumours recently on Monet Exchange's podcast and said that actually she was the one who dropped them, not the other way round. She said it was because it just wasn't a good working relationship, and she also claimed that they were bitter because they thought that having Shea's last name would help them get on Drag Race, but it didn't. However, one of her former drag daughters, Bambi, posted on social media shortly after saying that Shea was lying, that she was unsupportive, and that Shea's boyfriend is the cause of a lot of the problems. I did cover all of this in my last video, which I'll link to in the description if you haven't seen it already. But at the time of making that video, the only one of the former drag daughters that had addressed the drama was Bambi. However, after I made that video, another of Shea's former drag daughters also spoke out about the situation. Not long after Shea made those comments on the podcast and Bambi spoke out against her, Kenzie the Dragon also posted a string of tweets giving her side of it. So Kenzie said, "I'm really not surprised that Shea will get on a platform and fan the dying coals of the drama that fuels the energy she thrives off of. Everyone who knows and respects me in Chicago does not associate me with her because she was not around for nearly all of my drag career. No one resents her for not getting on Drag Race. My issue quite literally stems from her boyfriend Dan. We chose not to let both of them create drama in our lives for their personal entertainment anymore. There are multiple instances where issues have arose, which I care less to dive into. I simply distanced myself and was living my life in peace. She charged me up asking why I unfollowed him, and I said it was because of how he handled a situation. She called us bullies towards him. Quote, reclaimed her name and proceeded to threaten us with a cease and desist pertaining to said name. I have asked her for nothing and don't feel she owes me anything but to leave me and my sisters the F alone at this point the way she wanted it. I never asked for her help with Drag Race tape after the first time I auditioned for season 10, and the two of them were discouraging every response I had for interview portion. I have shot and edited all of my tapes, apart from the one I paid Dan to edit for me. She disbanded our quote family because she sided with her boyfriend in nearly every situation, situations that his fragile ego were the catalyst for, and instead of being able to admit her partner is capable of malice, she would rather cast us as the problem. Y'all can go believe whatever you want. I literally mind my business, make my art, pay my bills, do my shows in peace, and don't need to sit on a podcast venting into an echo chamber because I'm not that far up my own ass. And I don't need to do collateral damage and rewrite a narrative." Also, going back to the other former drag daughter, Bambi, in my previous video, I mentioned that Bambi had implied in one of her tweets that Shea threatened to sue her, although she didn't give any further details. Well, since then, someone in the comments on Bambi's tweets asked her about Shea threatening to sue her. Bambi replied to this person saying, "Just so I don't misquote, this was hours after the initial quote, we're breaking up message. We had already changed our handles at that point, lol." And she included a screenshot of what is presumably a text from Shea, and the text says, "Don't forget to remove my name from all your socials and branding to avoid being hit with a cease and desist for copyright infringement from my attorney Matt. And that's on business." However, someone replied to Bambi saying that that was a completely valid thing for Shea to say, and that Bambi was being dramatic. Kenzie also posted, presumably referencing this alleged legal stuff, and said, "How about you cease and desist having our names in your mouth, since you didn't want to be associated with us anymore?" Someone in the comments asked if this was about Shea, and Kenzie replied saying, I'm fine, been fine, she needed clicks, I didn't. And that seems to be the end of the drama from what I can see. But I just thought that in the interest of presenting all sides of the situation, I wanted to include this update since it happened after I had already recorded my previous video. And we'll have to wait and see if any further updates ever come out about this situation. But as I always say, please do not send hate to anyone or get involved. This information is just for educational and informative purposes, so please just consume it passively. So there you go, there was the Have Your Say video for Drag Race UK Season 7 Episode 5. Let me know what you think of Season 7 of Drag Race UK so far, and who do you think is going to end up snatching the crown? If you'd like to have your comments featured in my Have Your Say video, get access to the full-length interviews such as my recent interview with Niall Bella, you can watch the uncut version as well as many other benefits over on my Patreon. It's a really nice way of helping to support my channel, so if you'd like these benefits, please check out my Patreon and I'll put a link to that in the description. Also, I'd like to say thank you so much to all of my incredible Patreon members. Honestly, your support does truly mean so much to me. I love speaking to you in the exclusive Patreon chat. Your support makes a massive difference to me, and it really is the difference between me being able to keep going or not. So honestly, thank you so much. Please make sure you give this video a like or a comment because it really does boost it in the algorithm and help promote it to more people. And I'd love to get to 140k subscribers at least by the end of the year. So please help me get to it because I'm so close by hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me in the future for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets, and drama. Thank you so much. Bye.